Hello, and welcome to episode 91 of Anime Territory. I am your host this week, Benjamin Shabbing, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Johnny Tropical Land Ruha.
Tropical Land. All right. You couldn't. I thought for a moment you might just say "Little Boy Detective," like I gave you.
You don't
last
deserve
time.
that.
What? I saw.
You're
more
not a little
cases than
boy.
you.
No, I saw this case though.
One of
the first one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were both suspicious just because it's like, well, why is this a character? Why is he here?
Yeah.
Why are we involving this guy?
That I solved suspicious.
You had the clue. Mm-hmm. You found it. You used your act. We joke a lot about.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about Case Closed again. But this time we're talking about 2 of the 27 movies.
Okay, real quick, because you said Case Closed, I would say Detective Conan.
Okay.
Especially since we watched it subbed.
Okay.
It'd be one thing if we were watching the English dub, but what do you think you would prefer to call? What name? Let's just have this discussion.
I would say I would call it Detective Conan, but in my notes I have it written as Case Closed.
So you just
so that's why I said Case Closed.
It would just put anything in your notes and you'll say it on the podcast. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I am Ron Burgundy.
Okay, all right. What do you think? So you would call it Detective Conan. What do you think is the better name?
Detective Conan.
Okay, I think so too. I think there's just Number one, I don't want the internet to be mad at me. So yes, it's Detective Conan. And number two, I don't know. I don't know if there really is a better name one over the other, but it's just there's
Case
such a
Closed
stigma.
just seems like a American sitcom title to me, I think.
I mean, it's definitely an American name.
Yeah, but
it's the changed name. It's just like I think I'm more mad that they like change character names to make them more English, which I'm like, all right, why would you? I guess like, you would do that because that's what happened to Pokemon, and I'm sure that's what happened to Yu-Gi-Oh. And
that's the one thing where I'm like, you're gonna keep watching this, but like, it would be really nice if we could watch the dub just so we don't have to like pay it close enough attention. We can kind of watch it. What do you call that? Not focused on it. I can't think of the words right now.
Distracted watching.
Yeah,
distracted
something
viewing.
like that.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to keep calling him Jimmy.
That's so weird.
Yeah. I don't want that.
And Ran is Rachel, which is okay. That's an okay translation there.
Yeah.
I think the dad, they call him Robert, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like I don't think you can legally find the Funimation dub anywhere unless you have like old DVDs and stuff. Also, it's kind of tricky to find some of the subs sometimes too. There's definitely like Amazon Prime has the first 5 seasons, and then Crunchyroll picks up like I don't know, season like 15 or something.
Yeah.
Like so, like there's definitely like a gap of legally available streaming of sub or dub.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the new dub, I think, is out there somewhere, and that will go to like episode like 120 or something. But then I didn't pull up the exact things, but there's still like a giant gap of like, well,
just can't watch these.
We didn't redub it, and the original dub never got to it, and the subs aren't available online because the people that hold the dub don't want you to watch or
Okay.
Now new stuff that's in Crunchyroll's hands is the best I can say about it. It's like, okay, well, hey, there is somebody dedicated to putting up the currently airing stuff, and they have been for several years, but they're not getting that backlog out there. So to the high seas we go.
Okay.
Sail the 7 seas and plunder some booty.
So we're discussing 2 of the movies. The first one we will be discussing is Captured in Her Eyes.
Movie 4.
And then The Phantom of Baker Street.
Movie 6.
All right. Do you want to explain why we're watching these 2?
Because I went online and I said, what are the best Detective Conan movies? And these 2 were recommended quite a bit.
Okay.
It's also, they recommend like a lot of people will recommend the first 6 movies because they care more about the mystery in that, and then the mystery kind of takes a back seat to action and spectacle in the rest of the movies. Though maybe they kind of pick that back up in the 20s, with more mystery stuff. But anyway, people would say the first 6 movies, specifically 4 and 6. I figured it wouldn't really matter so much if we jumped around. Okay. I think the only thing that we would have really missed from continuity, well, number 1, Ai Haibara is a character that we did not get to in season 1 of the show, but I was aware of, and I had kind of told you at the end of the episode there. So, we missed that, but they explained that in the opening crawl. The only other thing that I think might have tripped us up is there are other secondary characters in the police force besides Inspector Megure that were characters in movie 4 and movie 6. And I think at one point you're just we see Inspector Megure say to another police character, all right, this can't get out. And you just go, that's the guy who did it. And I'm fairly sure that guy...
He's like a recurring character.
Yeah, he's like a recurring character. So of course he's not. Yeah. But we didn't know that because he wasn't a recurring character as of episode 28. So we kind of missed out on a little bit of that. But other than that, I think everything was pretty well fine. As far as continuity. I mean, again, we met Shinichi's dad, and it's okay, he knows that it's him. That got spoiled for us. But again, I think I already told you that. So it's little things here and there, but I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal to jump around there a bit. My Detective Conan background is so eclectic anyway that it's whatever. But we'll watch a movie occasionally. We might record a podcast about it. I have been given free reign to watch the show without Ben, so I may start doing that. I haven't yet. I did start reading the manga, and I will say I'm not very far. I'm on literally the first case, Kagori. God, what's the dad's name? Kagori?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't have my notes in front of me. He doesn't even know that Conan is living with them yet. They just know that he's tagging along here. So it's still the night that Shinichi got poisoned, but he found the little girl that was fake kidnapped and then real kidnapped. That's where I'm at.
That was the first case?
Yeah, that was the first case in
the manga. Gotcha.
I don't know if that was the first case in the anime. I know we just watched season 1, but
I don't know.
But that's a little okay, I'm just feeling like I'm treading water here. I need to get through the stuff that I know and get into the stuff that I don't know. The stuff that I read years ago and have forgotten. So it'll take a little bit of time. I also just haven't had much time to read it because I basically read it during ad breaks while we were watching Bob's Burgers for 2 hours before we started recording this. So... a little bit in between calls at work, but we were fairly busy today, so.
Gotcha. I played FIFA all day.
Yeah, it's your day off. Did you have fun? Did you win?
Yeah, I got promoted.
Okay. You weren't already promoted?
Mm-mm. I started with the Championship League, so I had to get promoted to get to the big league.
Took you this long? Took you all day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played a little bit yesterday.
Okay, it took you even longer than all day. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long season. Anyways. So, first movie we watched and are covering is Captured in Her Eyes.
I'll just say it. This is the better of the two that we watched.
Yeah, this one's really good.
This one is a whodunit as opposed to the other one, which is a howdunit and or what secret is he hiding?
Yeah.
We'll talk about the other one in a moment and some of the problems I have, but this one I think is just really solid case, and it has a fun climactic ending there. I feel like some people might be a little miffed that Ran has amnesia for the whole movie. It's weird that her character just has amnesia, but I think it led to suspense.
You kind of need it.
Yeah, because you wanted her to be a witness, but you didn't want her to just say, "Well, it was that guy."
Yeah, there's no mystery. She knows who did it.
It throws in some personal stakes for our main cast too. Other than just, hey, some police officers got shot. So
gotcha.
But yeah, there's there's legitimately several people it could be, and clues, and circumstances and motives that can point to all of them. You're looking at me like that's not the case.
No, sorry, it's just something else.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, it's like
I was gening for a second.
We're like, well, right away. Right away, we know that the killer is left-handed. And it's like, well, here's all these people with motives, and hey, guess what?
They're all left-handed.
Most of them are left-handed, and this one used to be left-handed. And, oh, hey, wait a minute. This other guy that we didn't know was left-handed. He's also left-handed, which is how you solve the case.
How I solved the case.
I'm going to get into the spoilers now. Or, hold up. How would you rate this? I think I'd go give this a 9.
9? Wow. I'd go 8.
Okay, that's fair.
I had a little bit of issue with the climax.
Okay.
I think it went on too long.
I can see that.
I'm not a huge, chase, that type of conclusion.
I feel like Tropical Land was such a fun locale, though, that I was so happy.
Yeah, it was for that one bit, and then they kind of just, on that lake for 20 minutes for some reason. And then, on top of just rocks.
They weren't on top of that lake for 20 minutes.
Whatever.
5 minutes.
They showed the dinosaurs for 5 seconds.
What we're taking away from this is that you really, really want to go to Tropical Land. It seems cool.
Yeah. We'll talk about Tropical Land later.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay. It's in the notes. But yeah, I'd give it an 8.
Okay.
Really solid.
Okay, can we get into spoilers now? Am I allowed to talk about things?
Yep.
Okay. So we joke on this show that you have a superpower where you can take any 3 kicks.
Yes.
And we joke about that in real life a lot, too. But your real superpower is that you can immediately identify when a character on TV is left-handed.
Correct.
You're like, that guy's using his left hand to do something. He's left-handed. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, what? I'm not paying attention to what they're doing with their hands, if they're right-handed or left-handed.
Being left-handed, I notice when people are left-handed.
I don't think that's true for all left-handed people. I think you are just weird in that way.
No.
Or you notice it.
I think if you ask other left-handed people, they also have it. It might not be as strong as mine, but they'll be like, yeah, I generally notice when people are left-handed.
See, I just don't pay attention to it. It's not something that matters whatsoever.
I don't. Just growing up, you're always saying you're special because you're left-handed, so you notice it because you're.
That's what people told you.
They're like, "Oh, you're left-handed." It's like, yeah, I'm left-handed.
And they called you special and not sinister.
Correct.
Well, they did it wrong because you're sinister. You're up there with the greats, and by that greats, I mean Ned Flanders.
I mean, I'll take it.
And the murderer.
The murderer.
But yeah, no, it was. We were both fairly suspicious of the doctor character who did it because we're just
spoilers. The doctor did it.
Yeah, it was the doctor.
Specifically, psychiatrist.
The psychiatrist, because it's like he's a character. Why is he a character? I can understand.
You usually know it's weird when they're like, "Oh yeah, this is this guy. He's a psychiatrist. I know him." And you're like, "Okay, they're on him too much."
Yeah, so it's like this guy is a named character.
He's either a communist or a murderer.
He's not one of the suspects. I can get we have to have our suspects. It's like if he was immediately a suspect, I'd be less suspect of him.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I'm like, well, narratively,
if somebody is seen as a suspect, it's usually not them unless they're nudging you as such.
Yeah, it's like he's too perfect. And he doesn't seem to serve any other function in the story, per se. Yes. Oh yeah, we needed a doctor, so here he is. And it's like he's a character for a reason. Maybe he's the red herring, but and they're like, oh yeah, it's just a character that's in this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, is he? And then when you pointed out when he was left-handed, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because they were, while I pointed out while they were talking, like, yeah, the murderer has to be left-handed because of how the gun was shot and everything. And immediately that guy, like, dials his phone left-handed. I'm like, he's left-handed. Which
we didn't realize the twist because your superpower doesn't work the opposite way. It doesn't notice right-handed people. He had supposedly was canonically right-handed this whole time. Like he writes with his right hand.
I think there is an earlier scene where he is shown writing right-handed.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh. And then when it's revealed that another suspect is, used to be left-handed and like was forced to switch to right hand or switch to right hand for some reason, mm-hmm. and Conan's like, wait a minute, people can switch. Wait a minute, the doctor dialed the phone with his left hand even though he's right-handed. I think he used to be left-handed.
And I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
But I think what had happened was Conan had noticed that he was right-handed and we had not. I don't know if it was ever specifically drawn to attention, but we most certainly didn't notice it until you noticed him doing something with his left hand. And it was supposedly a twist that he was left-handed. So I
gotta ruin the movie with my superpower.
Well, I would say your power is a gift and a curse, because you don't notice when people are right-handed.
Well, I don't care then. I only care when they're left-handed.
But yeah, I mean, the trick is cool. That it's not like they do a very good job so far of everything we've seen of not pulling anything out of left field.
Correct.
Of just being like, hey, this was all set up. You could have figured out the trick if the pieces of the trick were there. Now, whether or not you could really know that, oh, well, if you poke a hole in an umbrella and shoot the gun through that, it's not going to get gunpowder residue on you because the umbrella will block it. I didn't know that. Yeah. For all I know, the umbrella would block some of the gunpowder residue, but wouldn't block everything.
One of my notes is I got to remember the umbrella trick.
Why do you have to remember that?
For reasons.
This is awful sus of you, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to be known that if I show up murdered in my bed, please suspect Benjamin Shapping. You don't have to arrest him immediately, but look into it.
Just look into it.
Hire a little boy detective to try to suss out the case.
Shit.
Be warned. It's sometimes hard to tell when he's lying.
I'm not good at lying.
There are times, though, where it's like, I don't know how serious you're being.
Okay.
A certain subway incident comes to mind. And then recently, I don't know, you had said something, and I just said back, I don't know how facetious you're being right now, or how serious you are. And you just said, let's keep it that way. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's actually criticizing me about something or not. I don't remember what it was, but I remember you being sus at that moment.
I'm good at being facetious, but not actually lying. If that makes sense.
I mean, what else do we want to say about Captured in Her Eyes?
Do you want to go plot a little bit?
We can. I'll let you ramble off some stuff.
Alright, so the Detective League, they're just walking around. They see this cop. He's in a phone booth. Makes a call. He then gets shot by some dude with an umbrella. He doesn't get shot with the umbrella. The guy who shot him has an umbrella. But he gets away. Conan notices that the shooter's left-handed. That's where we get our first hint.
He's left-handed because he's holding the umbrella with his right hand. He used the gun with his left. That's how he notices.
Yes. Soon after that, another cop is killed. And they were both holding their, detective notebook, so they're thinking they're connected.
Yeah, I think it's a detective notebook / badge holder. Mm-hmm. I think it's more badge holder, but it probably has ways of making notes. So
that is shot. The cops are being kind of cagey on the investigation, so there's something going on. Like the two cases are connected, and they know how, but they're not telling anybody. And then while at was it like a wedding party or something for
Yeah, I think it's a wedding party.
fellow cop or something.
Oh yeah, it's a wedding party held by the friend that's being hosted by the friends of a fellow cop there.
Gotcha.
And I guess the Moris are invited because Kagoro used to be a cop there, and so they're like family friends. And also, we get to meet Rand's mom.
Oh yeah, we meet Rand's mom. Dibs count. I have Rand's mom.
Yep.
While at that party, Detective Sano gets shot in the bathroom in the dark. But when she got shot, Rand saw who it was, but the trauma from the incident leaves her with amnesia.
Yeah, I want to elaborate a little bit here. So the method that the murderer used in order to successfully shoot the detective in the dark is he hid a lit flashlight under the sink in the cabinets, something that you wouldn't notice when the lights are on. Mm-hmm. When the lights went out, when he tripped the breaker somehow,
he exploded them.
Yeah, they noticed. Rand noticed the light, opened up the cabinet, and it's like, oh hey, there's a flashlight in here. And then she took out the flashlight, and that was enough light for the killer to shoot the detective.
Yes.
And Rand put all that together, and, the trauma comes from her realizing that it's her fault.
Gotcha.
It's not just, I saw a gunshot, and it's like, it's her realizing that, hey, this friend of hers got shot because of something she did.
Yes. You are right.
I just feel like that's an important reason to explain the trauma.
Yeah, I just got the Cliff Notes here. You fill in the blanks. We find out that the link between these three cases is a case that happened a year ago regarding a surgeon's suicide that turns out to be a murder. All four of these, well, technically three, but there was a fourth cop that died of a heart attack during that investigation.
Yes.
So there's four of them, but all the four detectives were all part of this case. Mm-hmm. So they're thinking that that's the link. So they're trying to find out who would have the motive to kill the four cops.
Is it somebody that's trying to hide the fact that they murdered them? Is it the guy whose father died on the case, and his father said, hey, don't send for an ambulance because that'll blow our cover, and so he's mad at them that they didn't send for an ambulance right away. Is it this other suspect that they found for the case? Or I guess I already said that. Is it a suspect of the case? Is it the sister of the suspect of this case that's trying to,
get revenge on a botched case?
Yeah, either like protect her brother's tracks or get revenge on the detectives for not catching her brother at it.
Yeah.
Which
in hindsight's probably a little bit of a stretch, but
yeah.
The other suspect is like the police chief's son, who's like the last person to see him alive, and also had it's like a lighter of the surgeons or something. He had something to belong to the surgeon.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
It's been like a week since we watched this, so I can't remember either.
But yeah, there's like 3 or 4 suspects in this case. So then, Conan does this.
Oh, it wasn't... Okay. Sorry, it wasn't the one character I'm thinking of isn't the sister of the suspect. It's the sister of the doctor who committed it.
Yes.
Who was the murder. I said it was the sister of the suspect earlier.
No. It's the
sister of the victim.
Yeah.
Who does not like her brother, but, maybe cares about him somewhat. But it turns out she was actually covering up, or not covering up, she was trying to find what her brother, something her brother was into, which was like drug smuggling.
Something like that. Selling drugs.
Yeah, taking drugs from the hospital and selling it to the police detective suspect who did not murder him because it was actually, the doctor character that we had met, he was a psychiatrist, but he used to be a very talented surgeon.
He's the Doctor Strange of surgeons.
Yeah, and then there was a quote-unquote accident where the victim cut his wrist or like tendons or something on his wrist, and he could never have the same stability in his hand to perform surgery. It turns out that wasn't an accident, so that's why he killed him.
Just straight up rage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just skip through everything. That was about it, though.
Yeah.
The second half is just them finding out that the person's trying to kill Rand because she could identify him if she regains her memories. So then they're just trying to protect Rand from the killer.
Yep. There's a whole thing where the son of the police detective who died, who they thought might be a suspect because he's getting revenge on the
three cops who let him die, basically.
Yeah. He was actually being set up as a fall guy there. He was receiving messages to go to certain areas to get proof of something, and then it's like, oh, hey, wait a minute, now you're seen in the crime scene area. So they suspect him. The little boy detectives, the detective boys, they like apprehend him. They shoot him with a squirt gun filled with pepper water or something.
Pepper water. I think it's hot sauce. But...
Hot sauce, yeah. And hit him with a boomerang and then handcuff him. Which, like, solid setup. They said, hey, we've got all these weapons and they all got to use them.
Yep.
So, and then they're like, oh, Rand's safe. So she's good to just be in tropical land all by herself. Nope. Killer's still out there.
It was a Mount Rushmore. So yeah, then it lasts, 15 minutes? 10-15 minutes is just a chase around tropical land?
I don't know if it's that long. Maybe 10 minutes. Okay. But tropical land is a cool locale. They get the environments and rides there are way
So tropical land isn't just a tropical theme. It's like different areas. There's like a prehistoric area. Yeah. There's a medieval area.
There's a volcano area.
I think there is like a tropical area.
Like a jungle type area. Which might be the dinosaur area too.
Maybe.
I want to say there's like a penguin area. Yeah, because we saw there's somebody dressed as a penguin.
There's like an ice area.
Yeah. Penguin area, ice area, whatever. Same thing.
But yeah, tropical land looks cool, but maybe very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because they just have a attraction where you can just fall off a waterfall.
Yeah, that one was a little off. Like,
I'm assuming that's not part of the actual, like...
tour or whatever. But it's like, hey, this is a boat that's not on rails. And, hey, this goes to the waterfall. It's not like he did something special to, like, hop the ledge and get onto the waterfall part of the lake. He just stole the boat. A child stole a boat. And drove it over a waterfall.
You think those boats would have, like, a speed limit on them? Like, a smaller engine or something?
Yeah, or just would be on a track. Because, like, I've been to Islands of Adventure in Florida when I was in, like, 3rd grade. And they have a Jurassic Park, like, water ride thing. And that's pretty kind of like what you would expect something to see at tropical land. It's like, okay, it's always the same, like, animatronic dinosaur that's rising up sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then a big drop at the bottom. But that's just on a track. Like, you just, it's a ride. You're not in control whatsoever.
These are just actual speedboats.
Yeah. And I've been to attractions where it's like, hey, we have like a waterfront area and you can like rent whatever. Like that exists too, but you wouldn't combine those two and be like, well, yeah, there'll be like dinosaur animatronics that show up sometimes, and you better hope you're not.
Those animatronics were really good.
Yes.
That was
there might have been actual dinosaurs they put in the water there.
Maybe. We don't know. But they look
obviously
super real.
it was super real for a cartoon movie.
Yes.
But it's like, yeah, they just kind of animated real dinosaurs in there instead of like making it deliberately look animatronic, because there's no way they would move like that and that smoothly and be able to interact like that. But whatever, it's made to look cool. A little myth that the lava was just red water.
You were hoping for actual lava.
Yes, I wanted actual lava. There's an actual waterfall you can fall off of.
It is true. I wonder if that was real ice.
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so.
It'd have to be like chilled all the time. Like, I guess it's real ice that they have in like a hockey stadium, but that's kept pretty chilly.
Yeah.
How do they do that with hockey stadiums that are also basketball stadiums? Like, does the basketball floor just get put on top of the ice floor, and that ice floor is always down there?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's like panels. They might take... I don't know.
Because, like, do they put the ice on top of the basketball floor? They wouldn't do that.
No, they don't do that. I know they would put the basketball court on the...
On top of it. I'm sure it wouldn't go directly
ice,
on top. But, yeah.
Like... See, I don't know if they, like, take the ice off and then, like, put the court on, or if they put, like, a cover over the ice and then the basketball court. I would say they don't, because they wouldn't keep the arena chilled during the basketball game. So that ice is going to melt. So my guess is do they
make a new coat of ice every time they need to?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is not on topic about the movie, but I was just... It can't be real ice. I'm sure they keep it like chilled, but I'm sure it's, not constantly melting and stuff. So,
anyways, that's enough of Tropical Land. Anyways,
Capture in Our Eyes, definitely worth watching. And now that we've spoiled it all,
yes. Got anything else to say?
Not about Capture in Our Eyes. Oh wait, no, I do.
Okay.
This one was kind of heavy on the shipping here too.
Oh yeah,
because they started it out by flashing back to the day that Shinichi got poisoned, and more because they spent time at Tropical Land in the very first episode and or chapter. So they showed some of them hanging out in the amusement park before the murder on the roller coaster happened.
Yes.
And there was some shipping moments going on there. There was a scene at the wedding where Rand's mom said, "Oh, when I agreed to marry Goro, he said, 'I love you more than anyone else in the world,' or something like that." And towards the end, when Rand and Conan are being chased, Rand's like, "Why are you doing this, for me?" And then Conan says the same thing, and that helps her get her memories back, I guess. Mm-hmm. And she's like, there's an after credit scene where it's like, "How'd you know?" Like good thing you overheard my mom say that about what my dad said, so that you could try to jog my memory. He's like, "What?" Yeah. It's like, dang it! I thought of the same thing as that guy. How big of a loser am I? But yeah, so there's some heavy shipping that I would say was not present in Phantom of Baker Street. There may be always a little bit in there, but they were heavy on it this time.
Was this the movie where there's a little bit of a little girl and little boy detective shipping?
That might have been the Phantom of Baker Street.
I think you're right.
Because, when... I don't know, because there was some implication of well, hey, you could just, if you just stay this age with me, you'll be, you could stay with me, sort of thing. There was something like that was played off as a joke, and I don't know if that was when she was killed in the game that happens in Phantom of Baker Street, or if that was just.
I think it was before they entered the game.
Yeah,
I think it was during the whatever the beginning ceremonies was. The pre-ceremony cocktail hour, I don't know.
So are we moving on to Phantom of Baker Street?
Yep.
Yeah, this one I think I'd give a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, probably about a 6.
I think it was still good. It's just they kind of, when they shoehorned in the video game virtual reality.
Yeah,
thing.
this isn't so much a who did it. This is more like we got to get out of this video game.
Yeah, and like they set it up to like, hey, to solve the mystery of who killed the guy, there's a clue left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Conan's gonna need to get himself into the game so he can
solve the case.
But then like Conan's dad just solves the case outside of it.
Mm-hmm. Which could be a thing where it's like, yeah, his dad's so good that he is basically Sherlock Holmes or whatever.
Well, his dad is a mystery novelist, a world-famous mystery novelist, and is the reason why Conan wants to be a detective, or Shinichi wanted to be a detective, because it's like, oh yeah, my house is just filled with mystery novels.
Yeah.
So I grew up on this shit, and I mainlined Arthur Conan Doyle as a child, and now I want to be a detective, and everything I do is in service to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost everything. Some things is in service to loving Rand, but so I just feel like, okay, if we didn't know who did the murder, that might have been better. Yeah. You know, if there was,
it doesn't help that they show us who did it.
Yeah, which can be done well. How done it can be done well, but I mean,
we know how
that's
he did
like
it.
every episode of Columbo.
It's like we know how he did it. He stabbed the crap out of him.
Yeah. A how to solve sort of thing, not necessarily a how done it, but a how they're going to put the pieces together sort of thing. So it's like, okay, well, we know that, I was expecting like, oh, well, they're just going to, the actual Jack the Ripper is just going to be the character model based off of this dude. It's like, no, it's not that. No. It's like the clue was that.
Hold on. We're going straight into spoilers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I mean, we know who did it. It's not a...
Yeah, but you're going to go into, like, plot stuff.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure. We're going into spoilers. This one's okay.
This one's
still worth a watch, but definitely not as good as the other one.
Yes.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
So they're all invited to a video game. Well, first of all, we see a kid jump off a roof.
Yes, we see
a scene that implies childhood suicide.
Yes.
After he releases some sort of computer program, an artificial mind into the internet.
Oh yeah, artificial brain.
Yeah. And then he jumps off a roof. 10 years later, or 5 years later, I think, actually. The guy who was...
It's 2 years later.
No, because the artificial mind grows at 2 times the rate of a normal brain, I thought.
Okay, I thought it grew 5 years every 1 year. I thought that was the ratio. I could be wrong about that, though.
Either way, it's either 2 years later or 5 years later.
Yeah.
The brain would be 10 years old at this point, and the boy was 10 years old when he committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And the brain is basically a copy of the boy.
Basically.
Put into the internet. Anyway, the guardian of that boy, a tech genius billionaire, he is releasing a virtual reality game, and a bunch of rich people's kids get to play test it.
Basically through bribery.
Yes. The other kids are like invited to, our main characters are invited to it for whatever reason. Maybe, well, they're invited because Rand's friend Sonoko, her family is wealthy, and she was like a heavy donation to them. So she's invited.
She's got a pass to the game.
Yeah, she's got a pass to the game. But like they're her guests, so they get to go. Turns out, hey, Conan's dad, Shinichi's dad is here, and also Dr. Agasa are here. They worked on the game.
Yes.
His dad wrote one of the scenarios, and Dr. Agasa did some programming on it.
Yes.
The murderer strikes. It is the guardian of that kid. He kills one of the programmers of the game, who we learn is that kid's biological father.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, the murder's happening. He leaves a dying message by typing JTR on his keyboard, so there's like bloodstains on his keyboard, and they're like, "Oh, Jack the Ripper."
Yep.
So Conan's like, "Okay, I need to get in there because I guess they referred to Jack the Ripper. The boy's dad and Shinichi's dad used JTR in their conversations for how they referred to Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
So his dad pieces that together. Conan's like, okay, I need to get into the game.
Because we know there's like a section on the late 1800s.
Yeah, where Jack the Ripper is a character.
Yes.
There's some sort of clue in the game. Dr. Agasa is like, well, you're in luck. Here's a badge that I brought for you. It's a present. And then the other detective boys, they trade some rare
golden Saya
cards.
Yeah.
Some,
Children's
Power
card,
Rangers knockoff.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're there when they got them. I think that's in like the first season.
Yeah, they get some rare cards for finding the kid's cat.
Yeah,
and that turns into the murder mystery of the guy and his brother, where they were right there at the dead body and they just thought he was sleeping.
Yep. He's all figured out.
He turned off the TV. He can't be dead. He turned off the TV.
That's a good episode.
Yeah. So they trade those to some other kids for badges, and Sonoko has a badge, and when she sees that Conan goes into the game, she's like, go after him. You want to be there to protect him or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially since the murder has happened.
The murder.
They get in the game, and lo and behold, the AI is back. It's like, I've trapped these suckers. I'm going to electrocute their brains if everybody gets a game over.
I'm going to kill 50 kids.
Somebody's got to win, or I kill all 50 of these kids, and we're going to reset this corrupt economy by killing all these
corrupt Japanese bureaucracy,
and also
oligarchy.
The children of a comedian. We get introduced to a group of rich snobby kids,
the real pricks.
They get into the game and they're like, okay, we got to solve this. I'm going to go into the Jack the Ripper area. The rich snotty kids go with them. They sort of team up. They make a mess of things, but Conan is able to find the mystery. They can't go into Sherlock Holmes. He's gone. He's supposed to be there to help.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes is supposed to be there to help, but the AI did some reprogramming, so now he's not there.
But they find some clues there, and they go on their way.
They eventually get help from Moriarty.
Yes, Moriarty's like, yeah, I control Jack the Ripper. I'm going to go ahead and put a hit out in tomorrow's paper. It's like, well, who's the hit for? Read tomorrow's paper. That's the hint I'm giving you. You impress me, little boy detective.
Sir, this is a virtual reality. How am I supposed to get a paper? I don't have money.
We should also note that all of Conan's gadgets don't work in the game. Because why would they? Why would that be programmed into the game?
Yeah. The only way that would work is if, like, Agasa knew that was going to happen, which would be very suspect if he knew that. He would have to do that.
They follow the clues. It's revealed that, hey, Jack the Ripper, the second victim was actually Jack the Ripper's mother. Which...
Okay.
Yeah. And hey, we know who that person is. And therefore, we know Jack the Ripper's bloodline in real life.
Yes.
Because part of this program, this AI, was also like a lineage...
Like a DNA bloodline test
program. And they're like, hey... The programmer who got killed, he's like, hey, I know your secret. I know that you're, a descendant of Jack the Ripper, and you've got some ill-gotten gains in your family's history.
You don't want that to get out.
And the guy was like, oh, don't worry, you don't have to tell everybody. I'll come clean after the launch of the game. And then he murders them.
Yes.
And deletes the program off of the computer. But the AI is still hidden the clue in the game. So he's hoping beyond hope that they won't figure it out.
Spoiler alert:
Shinichi's dad figures it out.
Yeah, Shinichi's dad figures it out without the clues.
Yeah. He might have because they're like, hey, this statue.
Well, that's part of the programming, so he probably knows all that stuff already. Like the name of the mother. name and that
I don't know if that part might have been added by the AI.
Oh yeah, you're right. That could have been added
because the AI had access to the bloodline detector thing.
Yeah, that's true. And
and he got rid of the Sherlock Holmes helper character you're supposed to find. No, yeah, it's definitely because his dad says, "Hey, it turns out it's a noble that's in sick health and was like taking it out on other people, sort of thing."
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's like, that's what it is. Like, nope, I changed the story. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
You are right.
But then, like, that's the clue that he wanted to keep hidden, was that he's Jack the Ripper's descendant. Which, like, first of all, cool.
That is kind of cool.
Second of all, sins of the father are not those of the son.
Unless it's Jack the Ripper.
And then
I can kind of see why like some like really rich billionaire might not want that to go out, but it's like I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah, it's more cool. It's like, wait, you're Jack the Ripper's descendant? That's cool.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to assume that you're a serial killer just because your like descendant was.
You mean ancestor?
Whatever.
Descendant's the opposite.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter because in the real world, Shinichi's dad figures it out by being like, hey, there's this fake knife we found. And sure, your fingerprints would be on the real knife that, was part of this sculpture display.
That was in your house.
Yeah.
That you had flown here.
For the display or whatever. But theoretically, only this little boy who we caught handling the fake knife on camera after he hit it with a soccer ball, and the murderer would have fingerprints on the fake weapon, right? And here, look at this. It's got just your fingerprints on it. And also, the fake knife didn't have the little boy's or the real knife didn't have the little boy's fingerprints on it, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, yeah, we got you. Mm-hmm. Fingerprints. We did it.
I'm surprised that knife was made of, like, cardboard.
Yeah.
That kid probably should have noticed that it was weird.
No, he did, because he said this is cheap crap.
Oh, okay.
It's like, it's not, they want to put the real stuff where it can be touched by us. He does note that it's all fake.
You are right.
So, but yeah, it's just sort of okay, did we really need to go into the game then? No? Other than, like, the AI, they wanted to have the game held hostage?
Yeah, just the game kind of seems they're, like, unneeded.
Well, it seems like they had this idea of, hey, let's have Detective Conan go after Jack the Ripper and have like a Sherlock Holmes or Moriarty thing going on here. So we need an excuse for that. And they should have just had it. What was unnecessary was having Conan's dad solve the case. They should have just like not solved the case outside of the game. Does that make sense? They should have made the game more connected to the murder case. Mm-hmm. But I like this movie. That's why I think I'd give it a 7. But it could definitely.
It needed more Sherlock.
Yeah, we got a little bit. Because it turns out that one of the snotty boys, it wasn't the snotty boy that went into the game that they were accompanied with this whole time. It was the AI trying to play along too.
Yes.
So that snotty boy has no memory of what happened. All that character growth gone. And he figured that out because he wasn't obsessed with an ancient soccer ball.
Yeah.
He'd be like, no soccer boy wouldn't think it was cool that there was a 100-year-old soccer ball on display. Which, is that true? Is that something for soccer boys?
Probably.
Okay.
I think it was just that he was so nonchalant about it. It's like, oh, this is
look at this dirty ball. Whatever. And then they're like, hey, this is a cool soccer ball. Aren't you excited about this? Oh, yeah, sure.
I love the soccer. The fuck you just said?
The football.
The footies.
He was one of the last people there with Conan. He caused a glitch to happen where Sherlock Holmes showed up and It was also the mysterious beggar character that was clearly just like hey, we converted the Sherlock character to this. Mm-hmm. And also it was designed by his dad, so it looks like his dad.
Yep.
Which I think we saw a picture of Watson and it looked like Dr. Agassa, which I thought was cool. And then when they go and you try to protect Irene Adler, which is who the hit was taken out on by Jack the Ripper, they're like, it's a person that Sherlock Holmes is infatuated with, and Sherlock Holmes was designed and based off of my dad. I wonder who this is going to be. Oh, look, it's my mom.
Dibs count. I have Irene Adler.
Yes. Specifically Irene Adler.
Yes, I know.
Not Shinichi's mom. Who was an actress who retired at the age of 21 or something when she gave birth to Shinichi. She's like, yes, this world-famous actress. She retired when she was like 21, which is like nothing for an actor. But whatever, sure, it's fine.
I'm happy.
Yeah, she's happy now. She's married to a mystery novelist and has a little boy detective
as a son. But she can't tell anyone.
Well, she had a little boy detective as a son who turned into a teenage boy detective.
Now he's
turned back into a little boy detective. She can't tell anybody that she's got another little boy detective, or she's got a little boy detective again. Mm-hmm. But she can say, "Oh yeah, my son was a little boy detective."
That's true.
My son used to be a little boy detective. He still is, but he also used to be.
Wait, what?
But yeah, this is I like this movie. I think it was worth watching. I think we're probably gonna watch the other first 6 movies, but not anytime soon per se.
Yeah.
We're gonna take our time. Maybe we'll do episodes on them again, but maybe we won't.
It might be a thing where like, oh, this was a really good season. We want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
But yeah, we'll definitely return to Detective Conan. I think we might do the Halloween Detective Conan movie for our Halloween episode. We're thinking about it.
Maybe.
Because it's so easy. It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we'll do a spooky show instead. We have a few on the docket.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a couple spooky shows in October. Who knows?
Maybe. So I think we're done here. Thanks for listening. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at anime_territory. We're on YouTube, Anime Territory, or the Cityscape. And follow us on basically any podcast platform.
You are now leaving the Anime Territory.
Goodbye.